This video resource will discuss the Title I Part A Supplement Not Supplant requirement that is part of the 2022-2023 Random Validation Monitoring process conducted by the Federal Program Compliance Division. Before we begin, we want to point out that documenting overall compliance with a program requirement may require several forms of documentation to be maintained locally and available upon request by TEA and/or an auditor. To ensure overall compliance with program requirements, LEAs should refer to the program guide and/or other program-related resources that reference the multiple forms of documentation required to be maintained locally. The documentation requested for submission during the random validation process may not include all forms of documentation that are required to be maintained locally. To be in compliance with the Title I Part A Supplement Not Supplant requirement, the LEA has either a formal Supplement Not Supplant methodology for distributing its state and local funds so that each Title I campus receives all of the state and local funds it would have received in the absence of Title I funds, or the LEA has a formal statement of exemption. For Item 1.1, the LEA must submit a copy of its S&S methodology or a copy of its statement of exemption. Sample templates for each of these is available in the Supplement Not Supplant handbook. When we are reviewing the copy of the S&S methodology, we will be looking to see if the methodology is Title I neutral. We will also be checking to see that it describes how the state and local funds are allocated to campuses. For the statement of exemption, we will be looking to see if the LEA is eligible for the exemption that is claimed. We have learned from past validations that the following issues may result in an LEA receiving an improvement needed status. The auditable documentation requested was not submitted. The S&S methodology is not Title I neutral. The methodology is unclear. The exemption is not valid. Or the documentation from a prior year was submitted instead of current year documentation. The documentation for Item 1.2 is required only from LEAs that have Title I S&S methodologies. We are looking for evidence that connects the state and local campus allocation amounts generated by the methodology with the actual campus budgets. Acceptable documentation would be relevant summary pages from the general ledger showing the total state and local budget amount for each campus. Issues that may result in an improvement needed status include the following. Auditable documentation requested was not submitted. Campus names and numbers and their corresponding state and local budget totals are not evident. Budget amounts not related to the methodology are submitted. Documentation from a prior year was submitted instead of current year documentation. Questions related to the random validation of the Title I Part A requirement for Supplement Not Supplant may be directed to Vivian Smurl at essasupport@tea.texas.gov.